Northern Iowa Panthers are with us. Head coach Ben Jacobson is flanked by Bowen and Jacob Hutson. We're going to ask Coach Jake to start off with a statement on the game, and then we'll go to questions for all three of the Panthers on the dais. Ben, please.
Thanks, Joe. We had a great run. Guys did a tremendous job to get us into a tie with Belmont for 4th and 5th and get that 4th seed. And just really proud of what these guys did here the last month and how we played. Maybe most impressive was just the comfort level and the confidence that grew in each other and the trust with our team. So we finished playing our best basketball. Today, we didn't have enough today in this game, but we had a heck of a month.
Questions? Start right here. Thank you.
Yeah, Ben, and also for Jacob as well. Just talking about, guarding against a guy like Robbie Avila, who's so versatile, can play inside and out. How do you kind of, try to take on that challenge in such short notice from yesterday?
Jacob, you first, please.
Yeah, he causes a lot of problems defensively. So you got to try to do your best to switch up what you're doing so they can't just try to exploit mismatches or have him just pop in if we're in drop or something like that. So yeah, he makes it very difficult for teams to prep against, especially in such a short turnaround.
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah, he obviously we played against just one time this year, but played him in January and played against him a year ago. And as Huddy mentioned, the skill set at that position is challenging, right? And he played a great game today.
And for Ben as well as Bowen as well, when you guys have a season like you did, a good season, and you come up against a team like Indiana State, who's playing as well as they are, potentially an at-large team if they don't win tomorrow, can you just talk about putting the season into perspective? What do you think worked well for this year, and how do you guys kind of look at it for next season as well?
You want Bowen and Ben? Yes. Okay, go ahead, Bowen.
Yeah, it's a good question. When you take a look at our season, I always think the first thing that comes to mind is just the growth that we've had. So, and especially over the past month, I feel like is where we've made the most growth. And that's something that right away comes to mind. Going into this game, we all felt ready. We all felt prepared, and based off of how we were playing the past month. So going into today, I think everybody felt great. And then when you look back on the season, that's the kind of stuff that you think about, how much we've improved, how much better we got defensively. And then, especially over the last month, just how much we've come together as a group.
Yeah, there's just a lot of excitement in there, both for what happened, right? Being a part of it with these guys, and because we played some really good individual games early November, December, January. We had and even we had the 9-1 out of 10 stretch from right before Christmas until toward the end of January. So had a real good stretch in the middle there. Beat a couple of real good teams November, December, but we had a hard time finding the consistency that we all felt like that we were capable of. And what we've seen now in the last month is what I know these guys expected to have more of over the course of the year in terms of the level we were playing at defensively, and the efficiency we were playing with offensively. So, as Bo said, a lot of things changed for us over this past month in a real positive way. And so, for me, a ton of excitement in that. And then you look ahead to what could be next for these guys and for this group, and there's a ton of excitement there as well.
We have 2 questions from the Zoom. Is that right? All right, we're going to read 2 questions from the back. Go ahead, please.
So this first question comes from Ethan Petrick. He asks for Coach Jacobson. Indiana State hit 15 threes in both meetings this year, and that's what they've been doing all year. How difficult was it to guard/game plan a team that shoots that well from the perimeter?
Yeah, and that it is it's too many. And I think one of the things that we talked about and we felt like we were going to be able to do and didn't we didn't get there in either game is to limit some of the 3-point attempts. They've got enough guys that make them and enough guys that make them at a high rate. That working to limit the number of attempts is what what you hope to do with your game plan and once you get going. So from a scheme standpoint, I didn't do a good enough job in terms of having us in a place where we could limit their attempts. Right? Yeah, they're a lot of skill level, a lot of guys that can make it, and so it's a challenge.
Go ahead.
The second question is again from Ethan Petrick, and this is for Bowen. He said, you finished the season at 19-14. That is 5 more wins than last year. Where did this group grow the most this season?
I think I feel like on the defensive end was where we made the most strides and the most improvement. I think our offense was relatively consistent throughout the year, and I think that was what allowed us to win 5 more games this year. And this is something that we talked about, then during the non-conference, like when you play really good teams, you have a chance that you're going to get beat. And so it was more about, how we then approached every situation. Recently it's just been, your head needs to be held up and your chest needs to be stuck out. Like the approach of how we were handling things was definitely something that, again, like over the past month, like we were just in a really good spot. And so I think about those things. Defensively, I feel like we really improved in terms of the basketball area, but I feel like our mindset, how we handled things allowed us to get a lot of really key wins late down the stretch in the conference part of the season.
All right. Thank you. Anything else for the Panthers? You have another one?
We do have another
All
one.
right. Keep it coming.
This one also comes from Ethan Petrick. This one is for Coach Jacobson. He asks, RJ scored 5 points, recorded 3 steals and 3 rebounds in that 9-minute stretch at the end of the first half. How impactful was he in that stretch late in the first half?
Yeah, I would say that stretch and also the last 4 or 5 weeks, since he's been on the floor more and been getting, I think for the most part, he's been in double figure minutes. Let's call it the last, kind of 7, 8, 9 basketball games for us. And he's been terrific. His ability to guard the basketball, his ability to get through stuff defensively. And then he plays fast. And that's something that we've talked a lot about with our team here over the last 4 or 5 weeks, is wanting to play faster. And RJ does that real natural for him. And he has the ability to jumpstart things and get his teammates going around him. So he had, not just today, that was a great stretch today, but this last 4 or 5 weeks, he was terrific for us.
Okay, you're shaking your head no. There's nothing else for here, so we're going to dismiss everyone. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Joe.
Good luck. Yeah.